Um, from the weekend, Shanks has got a wee ache in his knee, just a contact injury, so we'll see how that one is. And I don't think there's any other change. Everybody else is fit.
Big problem if Lawrence doesn't make it?
We'll wait and see. The quick turnaround for the games. There's not much training. We'll give it as long as possible, and we'll see how he is tomorrow.
Was this something that happened on Sunday? Or?
Yeah. So it's just he's reported it after the game. There was a few other bumps and knocks, but he's the only one that kind of missed out yesterday, and today on the pitch.
I'm sure you would want him fit for a game of this magnitude. Would be his 100th game as well for Hearts.
Yeah, listen, he's been a big player for us. His record in the last 2 years has been impressive. He's an experienced player. If he doesn't get his 100th appearance tomorrow, I'm sure he'll get it soon enough.
How do you address the issues that have happened in the last 4 games? As
I've said, like the goals we've conceded are cheap from our point of view. That's for me, that's the root of the dynamic of the game changing. You're then chasing it, you then concede other goals. The 3 goals at the weekend are really, really poor from our point of view. We went 41 games without conceding from a wide free kick and concede 2 in the one game. So the 2 goals are really sloppy, which then the game changes. Motherwell's tactics change. They're comfortable and we need to chase it, and then we get the goal back, and then after that we lose a really individual error mistake that then takes the game away from us. But that was similar to Dundee. I think that's where at the moment that's one of our big problems. We're conceding cheaper goals than we have in the past, and we work hard on it. We have got some new players that have the ones at the weekend. It's Andreas and Gerald who drop off the line of the free kick, and that's what ultimately costs us. So we're working hard, but it's a process. You need to make sure your new players understand it and are ready for it.
There's a lot of criticism coming your way as well from the fans. Do you feel that that's merited?
When you're not winning games, there's going to be criticism. I think it's something, and especially being at a club the size of Hearts, continuously go on about the demand. If you don't win games, you'll be criticised, and that's the case. As I've said before in the past, I'm comfortable with that. But I think we have got a good group of players that can be successful. We need to cut out the soft goals and probably take more of our chances that we've created.
What about Plzen, and what do you expect from them tomorrow?
I think it'll be a similar game to last week, but I think even before last week's game, as I called it, I thought the game was like it was 2 teams that when they have the ball will try and work an opportunity. We probably took a wee bit more time than them to settle into the game last week, but then when we did, I thought we caused them problems. We need to be defensively better than we have been. I think last week we were to the very last moment, but they've got dangerous players that can cause you problems. I think the late goal it doesn't change the tie that much. We were always going to need to score this week to go through. But again, as I've said before, against Rosenborg last year when we came here, we got a setback early in the game, but we still fought and came out with a result. If we can start well, get the crowd behind us, then we could have an hard night like Rosenborg, I'm sure.
Do you think there's a nervousness at the back at the moment, given the number of the goals and the manner of the goals you've conceded?
I wouldn't say it's a nervousness, it's just that it's decision making in quick situations. It's the hardest thing for players, especially defenders. You've got a split second to make a decision. Do you go and press? Do you drop off? Do you cover? Do you engage? And if you get it wrong, you get punished. At this moment in time, we're getting punished with probably most of the decisions we make for the we make wrong, and that's football though.
In terms of, finally for me, in terms of continuity, what do you do tomorrow? Because do you stick by, you played a similar 3 in the back of the same goalkeeper on Sunday as you did on Thursday, will you go the same again? Is that something
We'll wait and see. We'll put a team out that we think will win the game. I think it will be an airtight affair. We potentially want to be a bit more aggressive at times. But it'll be a great night. If we can start well, the atmosphere will be good, and the chance to get into the Europa League that out with the old firm doesn't happen that regularly.
It's often asked is the players' confidence take a knock when they have poor results like this, but does your confidence in the levels that they're able to get to take a knock when you see the goals they're conceding, the poor results?
No, because it's actually similar to the start of last season. We St Mirren away, we lost a cheap goal that cost us the result. Dundee away, we concede poor goals. So players will come in. Players that are new to the club will take a bit of time to adapt. They'll make mistakes. They'll have good games, but ultimately they'll find that level. And if they're successful here, they'll have reached the level. And if they've not been successful. For me, I've got full belief in the squad. I think we've got a good squad. There's some younger players in it that brings that probably less likely to get the consistency, and that's something you need to build. But we've done that last season and finished off the season really well. So I've got no doubt this squad can get back to the same levels.
Steven Shankland's injury obviously came in that game in between the tie. Plzen were given a game off. Is this another example of maybe the SA kind of helping Scottish teams out and maybe giving Hearts a gap?
I don't think it's something that you sit and you say the SFA or the SPFL. It's the members that need to ultimately make the decision that it's the right thing for Scottish football. It's not going to define whether we go through or not, so I'm not going to sit here and say it. The preparation would be helped within that, but that can't just be sprung on us now and say, oh, should they be doing that? This is something that everybody needs to sit down and go, right, for the better of our game. We all accept that we don't, but as recent history shows, that's no the go-to in Scottish football. It's a bit more individual, and each club, each member wants to shelter themselves and protect their assets and what's better for them, and that's ultimately where we're at. I don't think it's going to change unless everybody sits down and decides this is the right thing for Scottish football.
How big an opportunity is this to sort of change the vibe and kickstart the season tomorrow night? As you say, if you could get to the Europa League group stage, that's pretty historic for the club.
Yeah, listen, the goal at the end of this 90 minutes, maybe 120 minutes, is massive. The reward of it's massive. It's very rarely done with the teams out with the old firm, and we've got a great opportunity. We played a tie last week that we carried a threat. We defended really well until the last action of the game. So it's within our grasp. We need to do things better than we have been doing domestically, but it could be a fantastic achievement to get there. But like at any big club, there's pressure every week to play, to go in, to stay on top of teams, and it's how you deal with the setbacks. We've dealt with them last season very well, and I expect the same this season.
Touch on Rosenborg, how much can memories of that inspire and help the players that were involved in that last year?
Yeah, for a few different reasons. For the reasons that if you do get a setback in the game, it doesn't mean it ties over. To what we do in the game that gets the reaction of the crowd, that gets them involved. All these small details are what players will remember from previous ties and good memories. So I think a few of them will have that in their mind tomorrow.
What you've seen at Plzen, Steven, are they different away from home as they are at home?
No, not overly. I don't think they can change their front three and the setup of them and a few things like that, but I think that the whole Czech league's similar. They play their way, and that's the way they play, and that's why they've been consistent in Europe, because they've got a good understanding of what they want to do. So I think it'll be a similar game to last week. Like I said, we've got to use the home advantage.
You've also spoken about the ability to manage a tie. That's something that they picked up over the last few years as well. Yeah,
they have. It's massively important, especially in Europe, especially in like group stage football or two-legged ties, that you don't play the game the full way the same in the first leg as the second leg, and you've got to recognise and understand the moments that you can punish them and when you need to sit off it and maybe be solid. So yeah, all that will come into play tomorrow.
They've spoken about the Tynecastle atmosphere, how important it is to unsettle them tomorrow from the off, and can you get in their faces?
Well, being a home team, I think we do need to do that. It can be such a weapon. I've said it last season that if we can get the crowd engaged and behind us, it is a daunting atmosphere. It's a brilliant atmosphere, it's a daunting one, but we've got to use that. We can't let that bypass us. I think in the last few games that we've been behind and we get a goal back, we've then not used that momentum well enough, and that's what's ultimately cost us in the games. So yeah, it'll be important that we can, one, engage the fans, and secondly, get them right behind us.
In terms of there's a lot of talk about the cheap goals that's been conceded, but do you feel that there's still much more to come from the team in an attacking sense, especially with people like Jan and Blair kind of finding their feet?
Yeah, I think definitely. Listen, that's two of the most creative players in the league last season, but playing for Motherwell and Ross County is a different challenge to playing at Hearts, because the way teams set up, the demand, that is going to take time to get your bearings with it and adjust. So I think that quite a few of our new players are still in that area where they have moments that are good and they have other moments that aren't so good, but they're two fantastic players that we're happy to have, and I think in the coming weeks and months they'll definitely contribute a lot.
If Lawrence doesn't make it, Stephen, do you have confidence in other strikers here to step up and provide that goal threat?
Definitely. I think this season, I think Kenneth's had more shots than him in general in all the games, so it's about taking them. We've got Boyce, who's looked sharp through pre-season. He's had to be patient. We've got James Wilson, who's young, who's eager, who's a big prospect that we want to try and introduce to the first team as well. But it's not just the strikers. We need to create good chances, and that comes for the guys we just spoke about as well: Spittle, Grant, Jan. So there's more to it. So we just need everybody to, one, create their chances, and then when they come along you need to take them, especially in these European ties.
Any transfer
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah. Nah, nothing to talk about at the moment.
In terms of Benny and Callum, kind of just looking further ahead, are they on progress to return after the international?
Yeah, Benny's been back in training, but it's just he's no close to being considered for matches. Callum's a wee bit behind him. He's still doing individual stuff on the grass, but he's on the grass. So Callum's one we want to just make sure it's right so he doesn't break down.
Talked about the players, Stephen. Are you roused by European nights, or you've got to try and keep a clear head?
No, they're brilliant. I think I said before the game last week, like, getting up for European games, there's not much to have to get up for. It's the occasion's great, the quality opposition's great, and you can make brilliant memories. Some of my best memories as a player were in European football, and I'm fortunate enough I managed to play in all the tournaments. But the key is, don't let them bypass you. Put your imprint on the ties in any way, shape or form that you can, that then makes the good memories that you'll remember for the rest of your days.
Brilliant.
Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.